Ms. Debbie Walsh from the Center for American Women in Politics, followed up by Mr. Darrell Nall. Ms. Walsh, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I want to thank the members of the Commission, and good afternoon. I'm Debbie Walsh, Director of the Center for American Women and Politics, a unit of the Eagleton Institute of Politics at Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. And that probably used up half my time, right? For 40 years, CAWP, or the Center, has been monitoring and analyzing women's status and prospects in American politics, tracking the numbers of women office holders, and conducting research about their impact. I'm here today because in recent years we have noticed a deeply disturbing trend, the stagnation and even decline in the number of elected women. And we want to make sure that trend is not exacerbated by the redistricting process. Yet the early evidence suggests that unless careful attention is paid, women may lose even more ground. As part of our 2012 project, a nonpartisan campaign to increase the number of women in Congress and state legislatures across the country, we are monitoring the redistricting process nationwide. We've analyzed the new map in New Jersey, the first state to complete its legislative redistricting, and the results are alarming. In a state where 28% of the current legislature is female, women make up at least 57% of the legislators who will retire as a result of redistricting. In other words, women incumbents were disproportionately forced out by redrawn district lines. We all know that women are more than half the nation's population, and on that basis alone, the paucity of elected women is a problem. Today, women hold 16.6% of the seats in Congress, 6 governorships out of 50, 24% of seats in state legislatures, and mayor's offices in 8 of the 100 largest cities in the nation. Here in Florida, women hold 1/4 of state legislative seats, making you rank 20th in the nation, and just over 1/4 of the congressional seats. So although Florida has done better than many states, it still fails to represent women in anywhere near their proportions in the population. But we are not just playing a numbers game. Research carried out by scholars at CAWP and elsewhere demonstrates clearly that gender balance changes the way government works, altering the policy agenda, procedures, content, and outcomes. On issues as varied as job loss, national security, and health, adding women makes a difference. And this is not a partisan divide. Both Democratic and Republican women bring distinctive experiences, perspectives, and priorities to public office. That's not only good for women, it's good for Florida. Studies cutting across the public and private sectors underscore the value of gender balance. A recent article on Forbes.com cited a Harvard conference that used extensive scholarly research to make the business case for gender equality. The author reported there is irrefutable, verifiable evidence that women in greater than token proportions improve decision-making, improve shareholder value, and lower risk-taking. While the business of government does not have shareholders, it certainly does have stakeholders, citizens for whom better decision-making and improved value are critically important. Under the circumstances, we can ill afford to diminish women's representation in government. That's why I wanted to bring to your attention this issue. We understand that women are not legally protected in the redistricting rules, but I would ask you to adhere to a higher standard than merely following the basic requirements, which should be seen as a floor, not a ceiling. As you assess the various options before you, don't simply do the least harm. Instead, aim to do the most good. I encourage you to ensure that women incumbents, present only through hard-won progress, are treated fairly in the redistricting process. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walsh, and thank you for making the trip all the way down from New Jersey. We appreciate you being here. I accidentally skipped Mr. Kelly.